Good evening and welcome to yet another live episode of Politics on Sunday. I am Femi Akonde. We are reaching you live from our studio in Abuja, the Federal. Well, Rivers State is gradually becoming a case study of a political problem that has defied all solutions. Despite the Supreme Court's final judgment, peace remains elusive in the volatile state. Rivers State is notorious for its fiercely contested elections, and governance has been a daunting task. The Pan-Niger Delta Development Forum has been making desperate efforts to find peace, but their attempts have been thwarted by insurmountable obstacles. Even their meeting with President Bola Tinubu failed to yield the desired result. The crisis escalated on Saturday when a group of women were tear-gassed and dispersed for attempting to block the road, denying passage to FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, who was scheduled to attend a Thanksgiving and reception in his honor. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. While joining us via Zoom is Ambassador Godknows Igali, chairman of the Pan-Niger Delta Development Forum. He will be joining us later in the program. But while in the studio, I have Obi Ndukwe, a public affairs analyst and media strategist. She's also the publisher of The Beam, a Rivers State-based newspaper. Hello, Ma, and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a while.
Yes, we're talking about this crisis in Rivers State, and, like I said in the opening, it has defied all solutions. Even it appears as if the Supreme Court judgment, which is in its finality, is actually yet to force the key actors in this conflict, shift their sword. But how far can they go? Because the people of the state are the ones bearing the brunt.
Yeah. In fact, I had the same opinion. I think it was yesterday I was talking to somebody and I said, the Supreme Court judgment actually ought to be the finality of this matter, but it looks like it's even a trigger for fresh crisis, And the reason being that people don't want to obey court orders. In fact, it's become a norm in Nigeria, particularly those in high places. They refuse to obey judgments of the court.
Well, we have seen the Rivers State governor saying he is going to obey this particular order and has also made attempts to represent the 2025 budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly. But that appears as if, they are the ones now holding up.
Well, there's a lot of politics, intrigues. I'm not just a publisher, I'm also an investigative journalist. It goes beyond what people see or what people say. I go deeper. I have, my NGO, Citizens Quest, we verify, we search for the truth. Let me tell you something. That was just a script. It was just drama in the first place. You don't appear before the assembly quarters without notice, without information. There's usually what we call an advance team that goes ahead of you and then gives you update, gives you a feedback of what's going on. So how can a governor of a state like Rivers match to just stand before the assembly quarters and say, oh, there's nobody to open the gate for me. Okay, give me the mic. Let me shock Nigerians. That microphone is not even his official microphone. That's not the one he uses because the advance team, he had a program somewhere in Ogoni that day. The advance team had already left for Ogoni. So I think that the stopover they had at the assembly was just part of the game and part of the reason, maybe packaged by some persons around him, let's just give the impression that we want to do this thing. Because if you want to present the budget, the procedure is that there'll be correspondence back and forth between the executive and the legislature in the right way. You understand me? So I think that was just the drama. Then this one that he's written a letter formally, officially, and the way it should be, asking for Wednesday. Because the first one, he wrote the letter, he was coming the next day. And the assembly said they didn't receive, they got the notice on social media, 11 p.m. So how would you come by 12 noon to present the budget? So this particular one, he's actually written and then asking to be considered for Wednesday to present the budget. But again, the House of Assembly also has their own programs. They also look at it and see if it's possible. But I understand they adjourned Sine Die without a date. Sine Die does not mean that it's indefinite to the point that they may not come back before then. They
can come back at any time. But Is
exactly.
there not, people see it as allowing politics to override the interests of the state. You know, the governor has written a letter now and given a date.
Yeah.
Well, in the interest of the state, couldn't it have been possible for the assembly members to say, oh no, we are ready, because we've not even had their response saying they are ready to receive the governor on the set date to represent the budget?
Yeah, and even if they are not going to receive the governor on the set date, they have what it takes to also inform him and say, no, that Wednesday is not convenient for us because of so whatever reasons anyway. So I think, like you said, it's politics, and the politics is not one-sided, because this thing started from the beginning. If you look at the issues, the genesis of this crisis, I mean, it was very easy, even at the point of the High Court judgment. If parties had respected the judgment of the court then, we didn't have any business going this far to the Supreme Court. And then, of course, the Supreme Court gave judgment. Are you not even surprised that after the Supreme Court judgment, people are making efforts to go and see the president again to intervene? Intervene over what?
Well, we also invited the chairman of PANDEF, Ambassador God knows Igali. He was supposed to join via Zoom. We believe in the course of this program, he will be able to join, because he led that delegation of the Pan-Niger Delta Development Forum to see President Bola Tinubu. But it seems they didn't get the desired results. Or what kind of result did they hope to get?
That's the question. What kind of result did they hope to get? Because in the first place, when the president, who is even an outsider, he's not from the region, decided to intervene, because probably based on his experience in politics, he also, and then of course, advice from his legal team, he probably knew where this thing will end. And then decided to intervene. And then they had these meetings back and forth. And some of these leaders of the PANDEF who were also, in participation. They were involved in the meetings. And then the resolution was made. Of course, the governor said he was going to stick to the 8-point resolution, implement it. But before you know it, the same people, the people you're talking about, the PANDEF, some of them anyway, not all. I know that Miss Ann Kilbriggs, I know that God knows that Sarah Ibe, I know that Chief Rufus Adder George, and the late Pa Edwin Clark, and some of them were also involved in telling the governor that it is, in fact, they sued the president. Are you not aware that...
But they did not sue the president with... the organization PANDEF did not sue the president.
Yeah, but they are members of PANDEF. So what would they be discussing? Even if it's not the
organization... Because they
organization...
have come out to say, we heard the former Minister of FCT accusing them of suing the president, you know, at that time, directing the governor not to implement the agreement
exactly.
reached. But they have also come out to that they did not sue the president.
It's not PANDEF, but they are key members of PANDEF. First question, who are these PANDEF members? Even the God knows Igali you're talking about, I mean, it's only recently that his name became, there in the news. Former Governor Victor Atta. We didn't hear these names in the past. Well, it was only when they now...
Yeah, that's when PANDEF decided to form a committee to try and resolve the political crisis, a peace committee to resolve the crisis. That's where Godswill Atta was made the chairman. We are even
making PANDEF to look like it's a Rivers thing. PANDEF is Niger Delta. It's Niger Delta Forum. So it's not only in Rivers Delta where they have issues. We saw Obaseki and, what's his name, Oshimole. They had issues. Did we hear of PANDEF? We also heard when Akpabio had issues with, what's his name, the Udom, the former governor. We also had PANDEF. We have, even in Bayelsa, there are issues there in Bayelsa, where even the Minister for Petroleum, who is APC, was alleged not to have supported the governorship candidate of APC. There was PANDEF. So what are we saying? PANDEF should not be narrowed down to only Rivers. It looks like it's people who have this interest. And if you look at it, the Rivers members of this PANDEF are actually the ones who have been telling the governor, don't do this, don't go this way, don't go this route. So I think it's just
PANDEF has said, they have been able to meet the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike because, he's very critical to resolving the issues in Rivers State. And that seemed to be a brick wall on the path of peace, meeting Nyesom Wike.
They've not been able to meet him.
That's what they say, that
now
they have
let
not
me
been able
tell
to
you,
meet him.
before the passing...
And then it now appears as if Nyesom Wike is just that one man standing in the way of peace in Rivers State.
And I think Nyesom Wike, I'm not defending him, but I also heard him on TV also talk about how these same persons who are members of PANDEF had indicted him even before the committee was even set up. So now, does he expect justice? What kind of scale are they going to be using? You've already indicted me, so what do you want to hear from me? You've taken sides already. You feel that I'm the provocateur, I'm the mastermind, I'm the planner, the execution of this whole crisis. And then you now want to meet me. I think that that's probably his, anger. But again, beyond PANDEF, the president has done something noble. And I think that that's what PANDEF should have worked on, that foundation which the president led, whether it was members of the PANDEF or as a group or individuals. I think that what they ought to have done was the moment the president spoke, they would have gone in with the governor and said, irrespective of what Wike is saying or doing, just stick to this peace thing. And I tell you, that peace resolution was better than what we got from the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is like tightening the noose around the neck of the governor. Yeah, he's going to present the budget, but it won't be easy. Don't forget that the assembly you are even talking about, they have been old for over a year plus.
So that they want their own pound of
flesh.
I
don't know if they want, but I think that if we are playing politics, it's a give and take thing. The governor needs to play the needed politics because all over the world, look at Elon Musk, look at Donald Trump and the rest of them. You see the way people, there's nothing wrong with horse trading and midnight movement. There's nothing wrong with that outside the cameras. Even to see Wike, it's not going to be difficult if he decides to do that. He can go outside the camera without his retinue of aides. Because I'm telling you one thing, Wike may not necessarily be angry with Fubara as a person, but he's angry with the persons surrounding Fubara because most of them, he says, were those who never wanted Fubara to emerge.
He particularly pointed fingers at the Secretary to the State Government, Secretary to the Government of the State,
Tami Danagogo,
Tami Danagogo. Yeah, he's saying that, these are the people misleading Governor Fubara. How significant now are the roles of these advisors and these aides in determining and influencing policy decisions, actions, plans, and programs of government with particular reference to what is going on in Rivers State?
But first of all, you have to know the background of these people. Who are they? Tami Danagogo has been around for a very long time. He was local government chairman. He was commissioner. He was Wike took him and even nominated him for ministerial appointment under Jonathan, and then brought him back and made him SSG. And Tami Danagogo wanted to be governor. He wanted, to be the candidate. Unfortunately, he didn't go his way. And I understand he wasn't happy, initially. But Wike, in order to compensate him, and also ask Fubara to allow him to go again as SSG. So naturally, you don't expect that he will be totally, happy. He will be focused on the new alliance he has. Because Wike denied him that, forgetting that there was a time Wike denied others and favored him to be minister as well. So
we're saying there's a possibility that, Tami Danagogo and others are those who have put a wedge or thrown a wedge between Wike and Fubara.
I don't want to totally believe that. Because the governor, for you to be a leader, for you to be a governor, you should have your own sense of judgment. Even if you've not played politics before, you've been around the government house for a while. I remember he was around during the Odilis time, during Amechi's time and all that. And he has a lot of other people experienced in governance who will also, and politics, who will also advise him. I think it's about the governor and his personal decision, not to do anything, not to want to have anything. So these aides, what do you expect them to do? He's paying them. So they have to also flow with him. So I don't want to put the blame totally on them. I'm not saying that they don't have their own interest, but I think it's time for him to go beyond the aides and go beyond unnecessary controversy and then do the right thing. If the assembly is not listening to him, there's nothing wrong with going to the man who says he's their boss, he's their master, and his former boss.
In fairness to PANDEF, when they set up that Peace and Reconciliation Committee, they also deliberately ensured that the people in that committee are not from Rivers State, so that their decisions would not be influenced based on sentiments and all of that. But it appears as some people again have said that this Peace and Reconciliation Committee are just interested in Wike Fubara. But going beyond them to say, okay, some other people who are critical stakeholders are the 27 lawmakers, the Martin Amahuele-led faction. They have also not been really considered or reached out to.
Yeah, because they also see...
Or is it that they are all hiding behind Wike?
No, but
because it seems it's difficult to get through to them without going through Wike, forgetting that these people are constitutionally elected to do the job, and Wike does not Wike does not hold any elective position in Rivers State. So why is it that Wike appears to be the man fronting for the Amahuele-led
apart from
House
that,
of
the
Assembly?
Supreme Court did not mention Wike in the judgment.
Indeed.
So I think that any group that wants to intervene on me, they should be able to at least talk with them. Maybe if they do that, they'll probably see the reason for their posturing or the reason for their anger. I mean, like I said, these are people. At some point, Martin Amahuele was threatened. They almost put down the gates of his house and stuff like that. They, withheld their allocation. The assembly was burned down. And so many other things. So they are human beings, whether we like it or not, irrespective of their age and status. But I think that the PANDEF can go beyond what it is doing now. There are persons around Wike, both members of PANDEF and outsiders, who they could also reach out to. We are talking about reconciliation. And then talk to them and then see how they can also talk to him. But again, when a man is biased, feeling pain that he's been indicted without anybody hearing his own side of the story, he knows what he did. He knows what it took him, for Fubara to become governor. So I think that to an extent, he has a reason to be angry, but he has to also find a way to strike a chord, a balance, so that these things don't continue to escalate.
Speaking about escalation, we saw the protest yesterday in Rivers State. The women all wearing black in protest against Minister Nyesom Wike's visit to the state and his influence in the politics of the state. They were tear-gassed and dispersed to allow Minister Wike make his way through to Kalabari Kingdom for that grand reception. Is this a reflection of the sentiment across the state that Minister Nyesom Wike is seen as the man who is stirring the controversy that has halted governance in Rivers State? But
let me also tell you something. You see, the issues don't have anything to do with the women. When we are talking about powers play and all that, it's men actually. It's a man's world, So why bring in the women in the first place? Because they knew that these things will happen. Maybe tear gas or something will happen, and then of course.
Why you say why bring in the women?
Women for the protests. What was that for?
Who brought in the women?
Of course, you should know where they're coming from.
No,
they didn't come on their own. They were all, hired to be there. That's the truth of the matter. People are hired in politics. People are hired. Groups are hired. Sometimes you see protests even in Abuja, and they are protesting for a Niger Delta, and they don't even know how to speak the languages that come from there. So that one we know. But the question I'm asking is, why does anybody have to stop anybody? Much as I will not also support an Ikwere man, where Wike comes from, stopping any Kalabari man from passing through any Ikwere land. Omagwa Airport, the international airport in Port Harcourt, is in Ikwere land. So you think that the Ikwere people cannot also say, you Ijos or you Calabaris and all that, don't pass through here. No, it's wrong. It's a two-way thing. They shouldn't be taking us back to the issues that brought about the hearing of the Henry Willings Commission. This is just the politics, reenactment of the politics then. And I think that Wike, a lawyer, he read history, and some of them, they also know what happened to their people and all that. So it's a power play, dominance of which ethnic group we hold sway. So, but like I said, it is wrong for any ethnic group to say that a Rivers man, a Rivers son, irrespective of where you come from, Oba, Ahoda, Ekpeye, everywhere, you shouldn't have access to. That's totally wrong. It's absurd. Whoever planned that should know that we're not in a banana republic and shouldn't be taking us, back to the dark ages. We've gone beyond that. If they didn't want to attend, no, they can stay away. They could stay away without necessarily, going to risk the lives of those women who may not even understand what the issues are. I can tell you that very many of them, 98% of those women, didn't know what the issues are. Okay, ask them the question. They say, oh, well, we are Ijo women. Wike doesn't want an Ijo man. But don't forget that Wike stood on the side of Jonathan and Ijo man against his brother, Amechi, who is Ikwere. So what are we talking about? So suddenly the Wike is an anathema to the judge. No, it shouldn't be so. And then, of course, I do not also expect that any Ikwere person, if there are groups in Ikwere land, we have the IYM, we have Wike Ikwere and the rest of them, they could also attempt the same thing. Fubara is the governor. He comes from Opobo. That's a riverine community, very far. So what if people begin to say you can't step into the land of Ikweris? You understand what I'm saying? So it's those ethnic...
He's the governor. But
ethnic-based, but whether it's governor or not, we all have right as citizens to move around. My grandparents were traders. They would come from Igbo land, from my village, on bicycles to trade here. My father was coming up through the waters, going to school in Buguma, Calabari, and we never heard all those kind of stories, irrespective of the fact that there were some politics of Igbo dominance and all that. But for us in 2025, to still be talking about the things that happened in the past, I think it's a no-no. Let everybody do the right thing.
What will you say about this rhetoric of violence? We are now hearing groups threatening to blow up the pipelines if this whole crisis is allowed to fester. Minister Nyesom Wike has dismissed it as, I don't know the word he used now, but he's saying that this threat is not real. But there's also another group saying, no, these people threatening should be taken seriously. What would you say? How do we balance
anytime there's any such situation, political, even during elections, there's always posturing. People come up with all manner of threats. When Omeha was going to be, the issue was between him and Amechi, there were people also, two of them were cousins from Nikwerela. There were threats, even from the same community. So people take advantage of the moment just to assert themselves and probably see if they could be called for some kind of settlement. Of course, everybody is looking for where to...
So the pipelines, they used to hold the country to ramp up?
Yeah, they are holding even the president, because, the president has been worried about...
ramping up crude oil production.
Yeah, exactly. So they know these things. They are well informed. They are all schooled. They know. They have people who give them this information. If you do this, the president will not do that. That's why when the president, they refused to abide by that peace accord, the president had to stay out and said, okay, let's follow the rule of law. And they were the ones who also insisted that SIM should follow the rule of law, which is go to court. And I said to them, this noise is huge. Is actually going to favor the governor. Everybody is talking about SIM, but this law may end up favoring Wike and his group, and that's what happened.
And now that the president is saying, follow the rule of law, people are now asking the president to intervene to find a political solution. Do you think the president should consider stepping in if you are to advise the president?
Well, if I'm to advise, I think he can just relax his stance. I actually agreed with him that it's not about him. Now, if he steps in, what is he going to do? He's not going to do anything different from what the Supreme Court has said. All he will do is to help them to implement, to achieve. Okay, so Fubara, you're going to present the budget. The Assembly, you are also going to receive the budget. Now, let me shock you. Before even the letter for the presentation of the budget, which is the first thing in that judgment, the RISEC had gone ahead to prepare for an election, which means you are telling these people that you want to somehow exclude them again. So you can see that when people say we want peace, do they really mean peace? The peace we are talking about has to go with justice, in line by line with justice. So what is the justice of the matter? Everybody has to be carried along. So if the president steps in, okay, you want to present the budget, which the Assembly, can you accommodate him on this day? Okay, good. Now, the Assembly members also have a right to remind the president that they have not been paid their entitlements. That the Supreme Court didn't, it was there in the judgment of Justice Omotosho that the governor should not withhold allocations and whatever that is for the Assembly. It's there. And of course, the Appeal Court upheld it and the Supreme Court upheld it. It's a very simple thing. Find a way around. Even if they say, oh, the CBN shouldn't release monies and all that, find a way around, negotiate with them, talk with them, and then let them know that you're prepared to implement, and then let them start seeing results. My dear, if they see something, I can tell you that they'll begin to see him as being sincere. So that's also what the president also may be waiting to see.
And there's also a 48-hour ultimatum hanging on Nyesom Wike's head for him to apologize to the Niger Delta elders because of certain comments he made, which they believe denigrates the elders from that region.
It is still the same people from that region in Rivers State that hosted him yesterday, grand civic reception. There are also elders, Chief Ferdinand Alabrava, George Sekibo, Bomai Yaye, what's his name? There are so many of them, who are also part of that, who come from that region. So we cannot say, oh, he should go and apologize when these people probably understand better. He has even said it is on the front page of one of the national dailies this day, he said that he was quoted out of context. He was trying to drive at a point that you don't threaten me because of where you come from. You are not the only one who has the monopoly of whatever you are claiming. We are all one and the same Rivers people. We have all been here living together. So whatever you can do, I can also do. The other people can also do. So the issue of violence should be, I think, in fact, the state government needed to put out a statement to, denounce whatever the group who is putting up that kind of, because we don't want to be playing this ethnic politics. It's nonsense. When Wike wanted to bring in Fubara, they said he's not a core Ijo, that he's an Igbo Ijo, mixed Ijo, whatever that means. And then suddenly, the people who think that they own him, the INC, they are now saying he's Ijo. No, he's the governor of Rivers State. And for every Rivers man, it doesn't matter where you come from.
All right, and a fine place to leave it, Obi Ndukwe. Thank you so much for your thoughts on the program. It's always a delight speaking with you. Well, that's it on the program today. You can watch this episode again on TVC News YouTube channel. You can also watch a repeat broadcast at 11 p.m. today. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.